Hey guys, what's up? I'm making Tortang Talong today. Tortang Talong is made from eggplant. It's usually made in a Filipino breakfast, usually at our household. It's made on Saturday mornings. It's just a very nostalgic dish for me. So I'm really excited to make it for you guys today. So to start, I'm just gonna put the eggplant on top of the burning fire and we're just gonna char it up. It's going to start to steam up. That just means it's just gonna start to cook through. But we're just gonna blacken it and char it up and put it on top of the fire. Okay, so we have some good charring now with our eggplant. That's good. We're actually gonna let this just sit and cool, and then once it's cooled, we can peel the skin off. Okay, so while we're waiting for this thing to cool, we're gonna go ahead and start on our guacamole salsa that we're gonna put on top of the Tortang Talong. So first I'm gonna work on our red onions. Red onions is pretty prevalent in salsa in the Philippines. So this is sort of where that inspiration came from. While this is not a traditional dish, it's really drawing from a lot of my Southern California influence. So the red onion is a nice pungent flavor that's gonna go into our salsa. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my bowl for our salsa. Next, I'm gonna work on our tomato. I've got Roma tomatoes here, but if you have cherry or grape tomato available to you, that should be fine as well. I like the tomato here because it adds umami and texture and freshness to the salsa. So I'm going to salt this a little bit, and then I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar. Then maybe a teaspoon of soy sauce. Just gonna eyeball that. Just gonna sort of mix that in. Like I said, it's gonna be nice and chunky. The fish sauce is gonna be this lacy, salty, flavory texture that's just gonna mix in with the salsa. It's gonna be really delicious. And of course the vinegar, if you have lemon or lime, use the juices from that. I happen to just have the vinegar and I'm gonna go ahead and use that. But this dish will thrive in the lemon and with lime or lemon. So definitely try to use that if you can. So now my salsa is complete. Look how chunky that looks. That's beautiful. So I'm just gonna leave it pretty whole and intact. It's pretty, it looks like someone just kind of roughly mixed it in together. And that's sort of the intention there, right? There's a lot of freshness that comes with that. So I'm just gonna put that aside. And now that our eggplant has cooled a little bit, now it's time for us to peel our eggplant. So it comes off pretty nicely because we have sort of burned the outside edges. Let's prepare our egg bath. 2 eggs, and just putting them in a bowl that I will be using later to dip. So Tortang Talong is basically a Filipino version of, it's basically an eggplant omelette, right? It's just sort of done very specifically. So to this egg bath, I'm gonna add some salt. And then I'm gonna add some fresh ground pepper. looks pretty good. So I'm gonna set this aside. Finished peeling our eggplants, so it looks like this. Now I'm just gonna take a fork and just sort of widen the gap, just sort of opening it up. I've been waiting so long to make this dish, and I'm so excited that this day has finally arrived. This brings back so many memories for me. I remember my mom would make them sort of like on a weekend or a Saturday morning. So I see this dish and I think back to those memories. So now that we have it sort of wide, we've brought it sort of flat with at the back of our fork. You can see that, you can see the marks on the back of the fork. That's just from really taking it and trying to make it flat. And with that, I'm going to heat up our stove. And then I'm going to take the egg wash and just dip our eggplant in on one side, and making sure to get the other side. This is I want to use some canola oil for this. Any high smoke oil would work well. I just want to make sure that my pan is hot enough. So I'm just gonna let the eggplant sit on the egg bath for a sec. We're gonna have some leftover eggs, so what I'm gonna do is once we put in the eggplant, I'm gonna put the leftover egg on top so that nothing goes to waste. Okay. So we're adding our leftover egg on top. So it's just a nice omelet. So it looks like one side is all the way cooked through, so I'm just gonna take the end and use the spatula to guide it. Look at that beautiful, beautiful omelet. It's looking really good. This is just about complete. Look how beautiful and cooked that egg is with the eggplants. So I'm just gonna take my eggplant, just again taking the end and letting the spatula just guide the eggplants. Beautiful. I'm gonna put the salsa that we just made, the salsa guac that we made earlier, and just putting that on top. To that, I'm gonna take a little bit of my green onions, just add a little bit on top. Take some of my green onions. That looks gorgeous. And then I made bacon and spam earlier. Would it be a Filipino dish with no spam? So I'm gonna top it with a little bit of bacon and spam that I already cooked. And just like that, you have my California version of Tortang Talong, a classic Filipino breakfast dish. It's got avocado, bacon, red onions, some traditional, some not so traditional, but I can't wait to dig in on this.